Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Herler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. Today we are drinking some Taiwan High Mountain Oolong from Yu Ling, the 104K plantation. I will tell you all about this tea, which figures quite prominently in my selection. It's the highest High Mountain Oolong that I could find, and it's also the most expensive. So it's really, in both sense, the highest you can get in terms of High Mountain Oolongs and oolongs in general, maybe in Taiwan. So let's start to prepare this tea by preheating our Guy 1. The water is a bit overboiling in the kettle here. Let's let it rest a little bit. We don't need this, it's a bit fleshy. I prefer the pewter tea caddy. It looks more elegant and calm rather than this red foil, but the foil has its advantages. It preserves still the tea very well. It is not transparent, and it protects it against humidity and oxygen, so it does a good job for very low cost. Let's not be too demanding for something that is quite useful after all. Now, so this is a Qingxing Oolong, like almost all high mountain oolongs over 1,200, 1,300 meters. You don't find any Jinchuan anymore, and or other smaller varietals. So Qingxing Oolong is really almost the only cultivar that you will find in these altitudes. For the first brew, we need to make the leaves dense so that they open up and unfurl. So don't be afraid to use a little bit more strength, but try to make the water turn. Yes. The water and the leaves now are nicely turning. We wait until the little dance has stopped, and then we can continue. Instead of going round, we can go upside down to help these leaves to continue to unfurl even more. They need to open up in order to release their aromas. Now we pay attention to the color on top of the lid. We need the leaves to open up completely, but we don't want them to overbrew and the brew becoming too yellow. It still should remain a little bit green and light. These leaves were harvested on May 21st. This seems quite late, but this is explained by the very high altitude of this plantation, the highest I can find, 2,580 meters high at its peak. Now, very nice. The higher the mountain, the colder the temperatures, and therefore the later spring really starts. This is why the top high mountain oolongs are picked the last in the spring, but the first in the winter. Okay. So we were able to empty the cups before it turned to yellow. As you can see, I didn't use too many leaves. The Gaiwan is not full because these high mountain leaves are very, very powerful. 104K is the number of the kilometer on this road. I think it's road number 8 or 7 that connects Lishan with Hualien. So when you go from the east to the west or the west to the east, so Lishan is about 85, I think, kilometer. So you drive almost 20 kilometers towards the east coast, and you will arrive in the neighborhood of this plantation. So instead of having a name, it's simply designated roughly by the kilometer along the road. Now, I had many people ask me, but I thought that the government had taken back the land in Yu Ling and had uprooted the plantations. How come there is a 104K? Actually, I was one of the first to report this news on my blog over 10 years ago, and I even posted pictures of the plantation before and after. For me, it was really a very sad sight. So definitely some plantations were uprooted, but not all of them. And apparently this farmer has a smaller plantation. It is not the same 104K as the one I used to have a long time ago, but it's a smaller plantation, and maybe this guy has better connections to the government, or he's flying under the radar, better hidden, or I don't know exactly his trick, but he tries not to be too public about his plantation. There's not so many farmers or boutiques know about this tea, because anyway, even they know about it, it's very, very expensive, and it's very limited in terms of quantities you can purchase. My quantity that I could get this year was cut compared to last year by 1 gin. So even for me, it's difficult to get my hands on this one. So the fewer people know about it, the better actually. But still, I have to tell you that this plantation exists, that it's really coming from this elevation, and you can compare it with other Yu Lings or with Fushoshan and see for yourself how good and especially how thick it is. Very pure, and yet, yes, this thickness, this energy, it has really a lot of marshal in French body. Even though it's such a light tea, that's a paradox that makes this tea so interesting and mesmerizing. How can it be so light and so full at the same time? Well, that's the beauty of Yu at this location, at this altitude. Very smooth, very mellow, and with a very beautiful aftertaste that coats the palate, and that yes, you have this thickness, even though yes, so few leaves were used for this cup. and a very light roasting notes. That's nice. I'm looking if you have any questions. Hello, Terry. Oh, you are brewing the dialing from last year. Great. Since these teas are uh, really of the highest quality, it also makes sense for these farmers to employ the best teams to produce them, teams who are very experienced and who will respect all the processes very well to make the tea. No cutting corner is needed because these teas are really valued for their quality and command such high prices. So at the end, this light roast that you can feel now, but that is going to disappear in the coming weeks, is one way to make sure that these leaves can endure the test of time and age properly and won't lose their aroma as quickly as a Maucha from another high mountain at a lower price level, because these cheaper Maucha were not so well post-processed with a light roast. Delicious. I want some more. It's not too hot. A little bit. Let's wait a little bit. For the second brew, we are going to pour on the place where the leaves are the most close together, so that they will occupy all the space evenly in the gaiwan. This is our job. So we can see here a lot of space, here very little space, so we're going to pour here, and this will make the leaves go back in the middle. But we pour slowly. Okay. Now, next week we're still going to make a tea class, but I was thinking something for the during the recess of this summer. I don't have any plans of going abroad, so instead of continuing doing these classes for the for everybody, I was thinking I'm going to make a phone call to a person who is willing to be taught on a one-on-one base, and I will choose each week the person with the highest order and ask him, you, her, if you are interested in such a phone call, a video call, maybe even better, so that I can see how you're brewing. Maybe you can tell me about, show me your teaware, tell me about your routine, when you prefer to drink tea, which teaware you use. And if you have questions, I can answer them directly, looking at your teaware, and maybe even you can show me how you are brewing your tea, and then I can maybe give you some tricks to improve. So this is something I'm thinking about for the summer, July and August, each week, looking at the orders and picking the one that has the highest amount, then sending you an email and asking you if you're interested. If not, no problem. And these videos, unlike what I've done 2-3 years ago, are not going to be public. It's just between you and me. We are not showing them to anybody on my channel. I, I realized many people were shy to be shown publicly um, on my YouTube channel. So I had to stop doing these interviews. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy talking with people who also love to drink tea, and I'm very grateful that you are ordering from my selection. This tea, Darjeeling 104K, got lots of orders and lots of interest this week, and so maybe you will want to ask me questions how you brew it, especially if you still have some little problems, if you're not sure about something. This could be the opportunity for you to get a private lesson with me, or at least an exchange. So I hope you'll find this idea interesting, and we'll see who will be so lucky to do this with me. So crystal clear. It's definitely not like a green tea where it's only about freshness and lightness. Here, the oolong does have much more power, and this is especially true for this dialing. The power and the body is there, but it's so pure and light. Now we can think also of the pine trees that surround this plantation at this elevation. The air is really crystal clear, and the sky is either very blue or cloudy with white clouds. That's why I chose this chabu as and the flowery scent. So this chabu for me is a good symbol of the changing colors of the sky and the aromas of this tea. We can also look at the leaves. Pick one. Here. Definitely picked by hand. Sometimes some. I had the end of the package, so there are a little bit more broken leaves. But the leaves are very tender, even the last ones are very tender. The stems are soft and not too large, very high material and long buds. Not here. Oxidation very light. The color is quite dark, so it had a lot of sunshine. Here we have a little bit more buds, but we can continue to make this once more at least. So. And you can see the leaves have opened up very well. Let's do a third one. We can be a bit stronger now. Voilà. And the other effect of such high mountain oolong is I find it's quite soothing and warming for the stomach, and also warming for my hands. The energy, my hands are quite red, and my sweat starts to fall down from my head. What a nice and generous idea. Imagine the most of your customers would appreciate it. Thank you, Elizabeth. And Terry, the year-old Yu Ling is still excellent. Yeah, I even have some from several years ago. At this quality level, these are high mountain oolongs that you can store for tens of years. I even had a Lishan from 1990 that was really excellent. Of course, it was not about its freshness anymore, but it had changed the aromas and very interesting new aromas after 35 years of age. So this kind of high mountain oolong can also be stored and aged, but it will be very different than Dongding style high mountain oolong that is roasted much stronger. Here actually the aromas are going to change earlier, but of course here the challenge is, since the roasting is lighter, you have to be a bit more careful with the moisture. Moisture level can be a problem, but I think it's less a problem in the West, in Europe or in the US, because the climate is much more dry, much drier than here in Asia. Okay, still great color. That's perfume. Okay. Thank you very much for following me. Today a bit more calm tea session. We are really enjoying this kind of tea very slowly because it is so refined. If you are too excited, you will probably miss some of the details, and you won't recognize how special it is for a tea to be so pure and powerful at the same time. So let's appreciate it. It's a very special tea, and I'm glad that many people are ordering it and enjoying it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.